And I'm going to now show you, this is all the ginger I have left. So this is all I have left. If I had more, I would have cut up another, maybe twice the amount. So this is just once the amount that I had that you saw as a whole. And I peeled it all off with the potato peeler. And now they look like potatoes, don't they? So I will go ahead. I don't want them too big in the blender. I want to chop them up maybe another half or two ways, and then put them in the blender with just a little water. So I'm going to rinse them out. Okay, so I have my bag of limes ready. And like I said, I use lemons or limes. Okay. So I'm going to, one of these are a potato because I peeled a potato. I think this is my potato. That one potato I told you I forgot and I accidentally peeled, so I had to go ahead and peel it all. So I'm going to cook this potato by itself in a separate little dish. No sense in putting it with the cooked potatoes because it's, for what should they suffer and overcook because of that one that's raw. So I will put this in a separate little pot by itself covered, just not to waste it. And then here are my ginger. Okay, oh, I forgot to peel this ginger. It's a little piece here. Like I told you, they're like joints, and you chop up at the joint and then you peel them separately because it's hard to peel a bunch of bumpy whole ginger. So you have to break them, just snap them like I did. When you rewind, you will see the video where I just snap them at the joints, and then I peel each section separately. And I am going to rinse this out again because everybody touches the peel at the store. Oh gosh, I definitely have to rinse it. I dropped it. Okay, because you don't want to catch hepatitis. There's a couple ways to catch hepatitis, and that's from eating dirty foods or somebody who, oh gosh, I forgot to rinse. This is clean, but when it comes to blenders that are covered up for a while, it's important to rinse it out because you don't know what went in there. But I just used it 2 days ago, and I know I washed it out clean and it was covered. And I don't have any bugs, so. But if I had bugs in my house, you best believe I would be soaping this again, even if I used it 2 days ago. You have to be very clean because bugs carry germs and bacteria, and it's no joke. You have to rinse off your stuff if you have bugs in your home. And I would even go as far as washing them again with soap and rinsing them before I use them. But in my case, I don't have any bugs in my home, so I just rinse most things with water if I already washed them originally with soap. But if you have bugs in your home, please rewash when you're ready to use them with soap and water. Okay, I'm going to show you the, there we go. I chopped them small enough so that it doesn't sound so harsh when it's blending. And I'm going to show you the steam. Before I go into the limes, I'm going to show you the steamed food. Now, here we go. I had it covered. I just took the cover off a second ago, before you were able to see. And you see the vegetables, the tomatoes are very soft. You see the zucchini, it's like almost there, but it still needs more time. So you always check your vegetables. You don't want to eat raw vegetables that are not meant to be eaten raw. So you see how nice and steamy. I didn't want to dry out its gravy, natural gravy. So now if it was ground beef, I would not put the vegetables in there until the ground beef was brown cooked, and then I was able to strain the water with the lid on, and then come back. And remember, anytime you pour anything out of a pan to drain, like for example ground beef, don't let that grease run under the pan. That's how you cause grease fires. You have to be smart and say let's pretend this is ground beef, and I was to take this here, and I'm just showing you an example, and I was to roll the cover and pour the water in the sink from the ground beef. I would not just go back and put this on my stove without first getting a sponge or something or cloth and wipe what's running down. Okay, it's not smart to let it run down and put it on the stove because you will cause a grease fire, and you cannot cut off a grease fire with water. The only way to cut off a grease fire is with flour or some kind of, flour, cooking flour. Okay, water makes it worse. If you try to cut off a grease fire or electrical fire with water, you got worse problems. Rule number 1, never cut off a grease fire or electrical fire with water. You need sand or flour or cooking flour. Make sure that cooking flour does not have baking soda. Okay, no self-rising flour. Has to be flat, regular flour with no self-rising if you're going to use something in the kitchen to pour to stop the grease fire. Because if it has baking soda, it's better than nothing, but I think that's going to cause a problem. Okay, so anyhow, it's just safe to make sure here's another one. Safe to make sure to wipe the side of the pan. If it was something like ground beef that you drain the water out from the pan, you don't want that to run on the side of the pan and underneath the pan. Don't take that for granted. You might be lucky a few times. There might be a time when you're not lucky. So be sure. I know someone personally that got burnt like that. As a matter of fact, it's somebody I interviewed a few weeks back, a couple months back, because I board the rooms out to help manage my bills. And when I rent the room out, I was interviewing one gentleman one time. We didn't turn out and agree to rent the room, but anyhow, that interview, he was a very nice person, and he was burned in the face and his arms. And the way it happened, he told me he was cooking, and he thought the pan was too hot. He sat it in the sink, thought he should pour some water to let it cool off, and all that steam blew so heavy and white smoke that he thought, okay, he's going to take it out of the water now and take it back to the stove. Why did he do that? Do you not know that once you put water in that grease in that pan, and since the pan was so hot, it blew a cloud of white smoke? Don't you know that when he took that back from the sink and put on the stove, all that steam of grease was running on the side, caused a big flame that blew into his face and his arm. Well, he's on disability now, but I told him he's blessed that his face didn't look like it was burnt. But the texture was probably different since it's been burnt before. Don't play with grease fires. Don't take a chance. And electrical. Water is not the solution. It's always sand, dirt. Throw dirt on it, or flat, non-rising cooking flour. Not rising, because rising has baking soda. Okay, I'm going to now. I'll make sure I put my vegetable low so it doesn't dry out. Let me show it to you once more. I had it on medium and I just put it on low because I don't want this to dry out too much. Because my meat was already cooked. So this juice is coming from the vegetables, so that's okay. It's not like it's meat juice from the frozen meat. That would be nasty. Yeah. Anytime there's frozen meat and it sweats water, let that water dry out after you sauteed it. Make sure you turn it up just a little bit so it will dry out if it's from the meat itself. Then when you put your vegetables and you get tomato sweats water and the vegetables sweat water, then that's okay to keep that water as your sauce. See, I didn't even add any coloring. This is as natural because I sauteed the tomatoes and the zucchini. Zucchini is almost cooked. It's soft. Not as tender as I want it. So I'm going to let it steam for about 3 minutes before I cut it off. So it's going to stay maybe on medium since it still has water, and I will cut it off in about 3 or 4 minutes. Now I'm going to cut the video off so that I can peel my limes. I'm going to show you how much my whole ginger is waiting here, and I'm going to show you before I cut the video off how I'm going to peel my limes. My knives are dull. I don't like to cut in my hand because if you have very sharp knife, you could actually cut your finger off. You know you have very sharp knife, then if you don't have this, a potato peeler that is safer to peel with, okay, which is what I'm going to use. If you don't have this and you have a very super sharp knife, this is a dull one, so it's not going to hurt me to hold it in my hand because it's dull. If you have a super sharp knife that could chop off your finger, don't do this. The best thing to do is use a duller knife if you're going to use it in the palm of your hand, not the very sharp knife, okay? But yeah, the lime and lemon are different. You can't really peel it down. You have to hold it if it's going to be maybe a very small knife or a dull knife. This is dull, needs sharpening, so that's why it's okay for me to hold this in my hand, because my knife is dull, so it's not going to slip and cut me. It's pretty dull, hard to cut. I need to get it sharpened. And once it is sharpened, I'm no longer going to use it like this. I'm just taking advantage that it's dull. I will never play with my safety. I love myself too much. Okay, so let's see here. And that's why I share safety with you, because a lot of people just think they're invincible. Oh, this, I've done it a million times, it's not going to happen. Well, one day it will happen, and you will be handicapped. Safety is first. So I'm going to peel all of this. Actually, I was supposed to cut the video off, but since I'm almost done peeling, I'm going to keep the video on. Potato peeler, once again, is the best to peel these things. So I peeled a whole lime, or you can peel a lemon as well. I have my days when I want lemon and when I want lime. Okay, so anyhow, now it's peeled. Now you're going to put this in the blender, so you're going to have to split it. Put it in the blender. This is dull knife. You see, you can't even cut this unless I force it. So that's why I was cutting in my hand with it, because I know it's a dull knife. If you have a sharp knife, that's not smart to cut in your hands. Okay, so I put it in here. Now I'm going to put about, remember I told you at the level of the solid that you have in there? Now I'm going to put about maybe this much water. Okay, just enough to get the juices flowing in the water when it's blended. And once it's blended, I'm going to put this strainer over the pitcher or the container or cup that I want to fill, and I'm going to pour all this juice in the strainer over the pitcher, and I'm going to show you. I'll be back to show that to you.